today we're going to discuss why homeowners might want to consider having your home in a trust. Let's get into it. We're fortunate enough to have Jill Paddock here, lead buyer agent for the Tom J. Krieger team. Jill, we want to talk about why having your home in a trust is good for you.
It's a good topic.
All right. So, first of all, people say you should have the trust so the state stays out of your business. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, a lot of people, you always hear, you need to make sure you have a will. You need to make sure you have a will. So, yeah, everybody thinks a will is kind of the end all be all. And, I think trusts aren't talked about enough. A will can be okay, but if there is any disagreement or anything like that, your will is going to get sent to probate. It's going to get put through the courts. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of difficulty for your heirs. And even if it doesn't go through that, actually, the will can make it really difficult for them to take care of your bank accounts, selling your house. Who's going to do that? There's a lot more hoops to jump through for the people that are still there after you. My personal estate attorney told me a will is cheaper and easier for you now. He's like, but you're here. You're trying to make things cheaper and easier for the people who are essentially grieving you. And you want to make their lives as simple as possible. That's why you need a trust.
Okay. So you're saying that a will can be disputed, and that can be a nightmare.
It can.
Okay.
A will can be disputed. A trust is going to clearly identify everything, and a trust is going to supersede the will.
So how does a trust avoid probate? What are the functions of that?
So there's a lot of different ways to structure a trust, to set it up, but the trust is going to define what is considered part of your estate. So for instance, the beneficiary of your life insurance policy is going to be your trust.
Okay.
The home that you purchase can be placed in the name of your trust. So then upon your death, everything is just kind of dumped into this bowl. It's kind of like all these little individual pieces of candy are put in this one bowl that is your trust. And then you have an executor, and the executor carries everything out. And you can, identify what you want to happen and when. If you have children, maybe you don't trust them to do great things with their money at 18. There's actually different ages that you can identify how much they get, each payment or allotment. You have so many different options.
So could it be said that it clearly defines who gets what and when?
Yes.
And how, right?
That would be the simpler way to do it.
Okay, great. And what about protecting? So let's say one of your children doesn't feel they've gotten enough money. Can they dispute the trust like they could dispute a will?
No. The
Okay.
trust is going to supersede all of that. It's already spelled out. There's really no contesting that. It's, again, through an attorney. It's been drafted up. It's much longer and more in depth. On both, you're going to sign, but the trust lays it out, and that's what happens.
Okay, so the trust acts as like a protector of your assets from, let's say, unscrupulous lawsuits.
There you go.
Okay.
There you
All right.
go.
And so is this something you can go to trust.com and fill out your own, or is this something you really should see a special attorney or a specific attorney or a CPA? What would you recommend? Hey, everyone, we want to interrupt this episode to let you know that we are a Keller Williams Southern Arizona franchise.
We are also realtors practicing equal housing. Now let's get you back to the podcast.
So, yeah, you can go online and you can, get the will packet for this or the trust packet for that. It's not going to be as detailed. It's not honestly going to cover every scenario for your situation. It's extremely generalized. So I 100% would suggest going to a estate attorney to help you draft a trust, because there's also many different ways to do it. There's, depending on your assets and what you have, how in-depth it needs to be. And we're talking about, everything that you own and everything that you're passing on. So you want to make sure that what's written really is what needs to be there for you and your situation. Mine's different than yours.
Yeah.
And it should be. So
Yeah, I don't have as many grandkids as you do.
ha.
So is there something like a trust CPA, or would you just talk to a general CPA?
That's a great question. So while I would suggest starting with your general CPA that you use for everything else, if it's too complicated, they might refer you to somebody who specializes in trusts and the taxes involved with that.
So it would almost be the size of your trust would probably dictate the specificity of the person you want to see,
Yes.
right? Okay, great.
Yes.
Now, there are different types of trusts, right? There's
Correct.
like revocable, irrevocable. Talk to me about that.
An irrevocable trust, you're going to still have full control over all of your assets. It does avoid the probate and things like that. But once something is placed in the name of that trust, the only way to get it out is to dissolve the trust. So most people are going to find a revocable trust, the one that's the better option for them, because you're probably going to buy and sell houses through your time. You can put cars in the trust, your bank accounts, everything, and you want to have the ability to be fluid and change things as your life changes. You don't want to have the trust be something that constricts you while you're alive and trying to live your life, but you want to make sure it's protected. Now, again, that's just kind of my opinion. Which one is right for you is going to depend on your situation, and your attorney can tell you that. The other thing to consider is that in an irrevocable trust, there can be some tax benefits involved. If you transfer assets in and out, those assets aren't considered part of your estate anymore. So for tax purposes, that means that the estate would not be responsible for paying taxes on them when you pass away. A negative would be that transferring ownership and control to the trust is something you can't change and re-access.
That's why it's irrevocable.
Correct.
Okay. So it does give tax advantages or tax benefits versus the revocable trust, which you still continue paying taxes on. The benefit of the revocable trust is just that. You can revoke it and you can change things of whether you're going to add properties in or not. But once it's in an irrevocable trust, that's it. It's
Right.
like casting concrete, right?
Yes.
What about a charitable trust?
So a charitable trust would actually be really beneficial for you if you are looking for tax benefits. It would allow you to make a charitable contribution to an entity while also receiving a tax benefit. And there's several different types of charitable trusts. If that's something you're interested in, you feel like it would benefit you and an agency, I would definitely talk to your trust attorney, your estate attorney, as far as how that goes, which one's the right one for your situation.
Yeah, so if you wanted to, let's say, leave some money for St. Jude Hospital, that would be a charitable trust.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Jill, that's a lot of information. And again, I'm assuming you're going to agree with me that contact the attorneys. A trust attorney is the best. Contact the CPA. If you have a very complicated trust, you probably want to talk to a trust CPA too.
Right. We are not licensed trust attorneys, but we definitely recommend you go see one.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, Jill, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And everyone, until our next podcast, have a great day.
Thank you for listening and watching the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast here with the Tom J. Krieger team of Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. If you are interested in buying a home, selling a home, or even investing in real estate, we have 5,000 agents across the country that we can connect you to. If you need any free resources, feel free to check out our website at www.thetjkteam.com. We hope you have a great day.